Move on, where according to the EU's top diplomat, Kaja Kallas, India's ongoing participation in Russia's military exercises and its purchase of Russian oil are hindering the European Union's efforts to strengthen ties with the country. Speaking on Wednesday, Kallas emphasised that the EU's partnership with India goes beyond trade, highlighting the importance of adhering to a rules-based international order. She pointed out that India's involvement in military activities with Russia and continued oil imports stand as major obstacles to deepening EU-India cooperation. Kallas made these comments while unveiling the EU's new strategy to improve its relationship with India. We are now joined by Major General Dr. Rajan Kochhar. He's a major strategic and defence expert, and he joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much for joining us. What are your thoughts on these statements and from the Kaja Kallas here, Major General?
My observation, my first impression of this comment is that it is directly related to what Trump is trying to emphasize, especially if you remember in the last G7 summit, Trump has tried to bring home the point that we need to pressurize China and India in terms of tariffs, in terms of sanction, because of its oil purchases from Russia. So I think a similar kind of a stand is being mooted by the European Union now, based on what Trump is trying to say, and also it has been slightly aggravated, I would say, by exercise Zapad, which you know is just culminated in Russia, where Russia undertook it along with 23 countries, and most significantly, India was also part of that exercise. Around 65 troops of ours took place. They need to understand that we are not an ally of Russia. We are not going to fight along with Russia in case of there is a war happening there. It is basically a routine affair, because exercise Indra, exercise Milan, has been happening over the years. And not only that, today at the same time, there is a joint exercise between the US Army and the Indian Army also. So it clearly shows that we follow a path of strategic autonomy. We are not aligned as an ally to either the United States or to Russia. So I think this kind of observation which is being made by the European Union, it's not understanding that India values its sovereignty and its energy security. We are doing it for our own economy. We are doing it for our own national interest. We are not interested in fueling the war. As you would have seen Prime Minister Modi repeatedly telling the world, including Zelensky, he speaks to Putin also regularly, to end this war. We are not interested in prolonging the war between Russia and Ukraine. And India would be the last country to fuel this war or to accelerate this war in terms of support to Russia. So I think we are doing it for our own national interest, and especially the West has to understand, because they are not trying to understand the concerns of a country which believes in taking care of its own economy. And one important aspect is whatever crude oil we are buying from Russia, we are refining it in our own countries, and we are giving it to the European countries also. So it is a world trade mechanism which takes place in this manner. And I was surprised at Peter Navarro's statement also, when he's supposed to be an economist. I have
Major General Kochhar, do you mind if I interrupt you? Apologies.
Please. Please.
Brussels, of course, it insists this partnership with India is about values and not just trade. Do you think the EU is being realistic in demanding India distance itself from Russia? Of course, given the history between the two countries as well.
You see, it's not possible for India. You have to understand the situation in which India is. We have been largely dependent on Russians for our defense and energy sectors. If I can tell you that almost 65 to 70% of the military equipment which we have in terms of our aircrafts, our tanks, our artillery guns, our ships, our submarines, our aircraft carriers are of Russian origin. You just cannot cut the umbilical cord. They are very strong relations, right? If I can narrate to you 1971 war, how the Russians came to our aid when the Americans were threatening to bring in the Seventh Fleet. So you need to understand that Russia has stood by India through thick and thin, and he is a true friend of India. Just because he fights a war with Ukraine doesn't mean you straight away you cut off your relations. And I would like to show the mirror to the Americans themselves. They themselves
Okay.
are indulging in buying Russian oil and
Okay.
energy and all, and they are trying to tell us the right path. Uh,
Major.
what the Americans have been doing in other countries. Talk about Iraq,
Okay.
talk about Afghanistan.
Major General,
Uh,
thank you
so
very
I
much.
don't
Apologies
think
for interrupting you. We have run out of time. Do stay with us.